Today, we're diving into the career of a player who didn't just set records, he completely rewrote the rulebook on what a basketball player could be. We're talking about the one and only Oscar Robertson, and we're going to explore what it really means to be a legend.
So let's just start with that big question right there on the screen. How do you actually measure greatness? Is it all about the stats? Is it about winning championships? Or maybe, is it about making an impact that changes the game forever? Well, for Oscar Robertson, the answer is, yeah, all of it.
All right, let's get right to it. Meet Oscar Robertson, known to pretty much everyone as the Big O. Now, even when you're talking about the absolute gods of basketball, he just stands out. And you gotta ask, why? Because he is widely considered one of the most complete, do-it-all players the sport has ever seen, period.
You know, every legend has that one story, right? That almost mythical moment that defines them. For the Big O, that moment wasn't just a single game. It was an entire season. It was a statistical achievement so unbelievable that for decades, people thought, nope, that can never, ever be done again. Okay, before we go any further, let's make sure we're all on the same page with a key term here, the triple-double. It's pretty simple, really. It's when a player hits double digits, so 10 or more, in 3 of the big statistical categories. Think points, rebounds, and assists. Getting one is a huge deal. It means you did a little bit of everything at a high level.
But here's the thing. Oscar Robertson didn't just get one triple-double. Oh no. In the 1961-62 season, he did something that was basically unthinkable. He became the very first player in NBA history to average a triple-double for the entire season. Let that sink in for a second. Over 79 games, his average night was a triple-double. It's just insane.
So how on earth did he pull that off? Well, let's break it down. First up, the scoring. The man was an elite scorer, dropping nearly 31 points a game. That alone makes you a superstar.
Then you add in the rebounding, an incredible 12.5 boards per game. And what's just wild is that Oscar was a guard. At 6'5", or about 1.96 meters, he was using his strength and pure basketball genius to snatch rebounds away from guys who were way taller. It was something you just didn't see back then.
And finally, to complete the picture, he was dishing out over 11 assists every single game. This proves he was the engine of his team, the guy making everything happen, the ultimate floor general, running the whole show.
So here it is. Look at that all together. 30.8 points, 12.5 rebounds, 11.4 assists. These aren't stats from a video game. That was his average performance night in and night out for an entire season. It's just total domination.
And look, this wasn't some fluke. It wasn't a lucky streak. This was the result of a skill set that was truly revolutionary. The way he could score, rebound, and pass at such a high level, all from the guard spot, totally changed what people thought was possible on a basketball court. He really did influence generations of players who came after him.
But let's be real, greatness can't just be about putting up crazy numbers, right? A true legend has to lead. They have to be a winner. So let's get into the next chapter of Oscar's story, where he proved he was exactly that.
I mean, his whole career was just defined by winning and excellence. From leading his college team to Final Fours, to that triple-double season, to winning MVP, the list goes on. But the one milestone that really cemented his legacy as a true champion, that came in 1971.
So in 1971, the Big O gets to the Milwaukee Bucks. And there, he teams up with a dominant young superstar. You might have heard of him. A guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As that veteran leader, he was the final piece of the puzzle, and he guided that team all the way to an NBA title. That ring proved he wasn't just a stat machine. He was a champion.
And that level of play lasted his whole career. He racked up over 26,000 points. And as you can see, his career averages of almost 10 assists and 7.5 rebounds a game are just staggering. Sure, the triple-double season was his absolute peak, but his entire career was basically a masterclass in all-around basketball.
Okay, so we've covered the mind-bending stats. We've covered the championship ring. But there's a third pillar to Oscar Robertson's legacy, one that happened entirely off the court. And honestly, this might just be his most important contribution of all. It was a fight that completely changed professional sports as we know it.
This slide really says it all. Before Oscar's advocacy, players were essentially tied to one team for their entire careers. They had very little power, very little say in their own destinies. But after he took up the fight, the floodgates opened. Players suddenly had a voice, and the whole idea of free agency began to take shape.
And here's the bottom line. Oscar Robertson was the leader of this movement. He was instrumental.
His lawsuit against the NBA helped tear down that old restrictive system. So every single time you see a star player today sign a massive contract with a new team of their choosing, yep, that reality is a direct result of the battle that Oscar Robertson fought and won.
So let's circle all the way back to that question we started with. How do you measure greatness? Well, in the case of Oscar Robertson, the answer is crystal clear. He was a statistical marvel, a proven winner on the biggest stage, and a transformative pioneer who changed the business of sports forever.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. His legacy is built on those three massive pillars: unbelievable stats, the ultimate team prize, and player empowerment. It really makes you wonder, who playing today truly embodies all three of those things? It's a pretty short list.